Hello, I'm Alberto Daniel Hill. Now, you might have heard some things about me. They've called me a hacker, a criminal, even a troublemaker. But if you really want to understand the state of cybersecurity in my country, in Uruguay, you have to look beyond the official story. You have to listen to the story they really don't want you to hear. Justice. It's a beautiful word, right? Sounds nice. I used to believe in it. But after spending 8 months locked in a prison cell for trying to do the right thing, I learned a really harsh lesson. Sometimes, justice is just a beautiful word, and that's all it is.
But look, this isn't just about me. This is about what happens when our laws and our leaders are dangerously behind the technology that runs our entire world. Honestly, it's a warning for every single one of us.
So you're probably wondering, who am I to be telling you all this? I don't have some fancy government title. I'm not a politician. My credibility, my expertise, it comes from a place they can't just dismiss, the inside of a prison cell.
You know, my journey started a long time ago. I was just a kid, 10 years old, messing with a Sinclair Spectrum computer. That love for technology led me to become the first person in Uruguay to use computer forensics to actually help solve a crime. I really thought I was on the right side, helping. But in 2017, everything changed. I reported a security flaw, and for that, the system I tried to help threw me in jail. That's when I realized how broken things really were.
Okay, so fast forward a few years to February 2021. I'm on the Radio Serendi, trying to get anyone, seriously anyone, to pay attention. A government agency had just been hacked, and I just knew it was the tip of a massive iceberg. I had to warn people.
And I didn't sugarcoat it. I told them straight up, our country is wide open, our security is a joke, we don't have enough trained people. We were basically a sitting duck just waiting for a real attack.
And this wasn't some kind of hypothetical threat. I had proof. Just a month before that interview, the Ministry of Defense got hit, and I could see it with my own eyes. Our national secrets were up for sale on the dark web. It was already happening.
So what did the government do? They lied. Plain and simple. They went to the public and said, oh, the stolen information, it's not sensitive. Meanwhile, if you knew where to look on the dark web, you could literally see the confidential stamp right on the documents. They were actively misleading the very people they're supposed to protect.
But here's the part that's actually scarier. I don't think they were just lying. I genuinely believe they were clueless. They had no idea what was taken, how bad the damage really was, or what to do next. And that is so much more dangerous than a simple lie.
I mean, I practically drew them a map. I showed them where all the cracks in the foundation were. I was screaming from the rooftops that the entire house was about to come down. And what did they do? They just covered their ears.
And what happens when you ignore warnings like that? When you pretend these deep, systemic problems don't exist? Well, eventually, the bill comes due. A few years later, the exact catastrophe I warned about happened. 30,000. Just let that number sink in for a second. That's not a statistic. That is 30,000 people. 30,000 lives, identities, now in the hands of a criminal.
And we're not talking about a simple data breach of emails or passwords. This was the theft of our digital souls. A hacker stole 30,000 of our national PKI certificates, the very foundation of digital life in Uruguay. And they didn't just steal the certificates, they stole the keys.
So what does this actually mean? Why is this so incredibly bad? Let me break it down. Okay, step 1. In Uruguay, a digital signature from one of these certificates is legally the exact same as you physically signing a piece of paper. Step 2. The only thing protecting that immense power is a password. Now, step 3. The attacker, this person calling themselves Urugugu 1337, stole both the certificates and their passwords. Which brings us to step 4. They now hold a digital master key. They can legally impersonate 30,000 different Uruguayan citizens, do anything they want, sign contracts, open bank accounts, commit fraud, anything. A disaster like this doesn't just happen randomly. We built it, piece by piece, over years. We got so excited about building a digital country that we completely forgot to build the defenses. We accumulated a national cyber debt, and now we're paying for it. An attack on a government system every 30 minutes, the number of incidents tripling in just 1 year, and we don't have nearly enough people who know how to fight back. So at the end of the day, you're left with 2 completely different stories. You have the official story the government tells you, and then you have the truth. And the gap between those two is where disaster lives.
The official narrative will always be, it's an isolated incident. The data wasn't sensitive. Don't worry.
They'll point fingers at noisy activists like me to create a distraction. But the ground truth? The truth is that these aren't isolated incidents. They are symptoms of a deep, systemic rot. And the real threat isn't me. It's the silent, skilled predators who are walking right through the broken doors.
Look, this isn't about me saying I told you so. It's not about being a psychic. This is about seeing the patterns, understanding the tech, and being able to predict what's coming because the flaws are so obvious. The crisis we're in now was entirely predictable. I know, because I predicted it.
So what's the real takeaway here? You might be thinking, well, this is just a story about a small country's big problems. But is it? Or is it a warning sign for everyone? Every nation is racing into a digital future. But how many are building that future on a foundation of sand? Ask yourself, when ambition gets too far ahead of defense, isn't every single country at risk of the exact same collapse?